Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. As today, now that we've gotten our steps in at Footfall, it's time to once again turn our attention back out towards the greater expanse. Namely, the numerous rumor zones that are still waiting for our attention. Including a few that apparently are still tucked away in these detached sectors, which I do wonder about because I really thought those would be Incendia's sectors, though now it seems they're tied to Kalkazar stuff instead. But regardless, yeah, I think our very tentative plan today is to kind of work our way around, with the ultimate goal being to end up at the Nameless Star here last. That's where Winterscale is currently holed up. Though, of course, as we saw last time, we've also still got some other potential companion stuff coming up. Which actually reminds me, let's go ahead and get Cassia caught up. She's one level behind since she wasn't with us on Footfall. Nothing too fancy. We'll go ahead and bump her Commerce since that's falling a bit behind. And then for her Exemplar talent, I think we'll grab Combat Meditation. We never really have her using range weapons anyway, so I mean, that's basically just a free plus 15 willpower. Then beyond that, we'll probably just grab the officer stuff, Attention, and Eager Subordinate. Prop up the officer side of things a bit. But yeah, important to keep her up to date, considering that we just apparently jump-started her Act 4 arc. So that's something else to keep an eye out for as we start traveling around as well. That said, first stop today is Omicron. And then from there we'll probably jump over to a rare find and then start heading north. Oh yes, we've got some colony stuff too. Lord Captain, an urgent report from the servants of the Omnissiah. They managed to locate a second message on the House Sorcelio data slate, hidden in the shadow of the first one. As soon as it happened, the machine spirit rebelled and started devouring the decrypted data. The acolyte of the cult Mechanicus are performing the rites to appease it and slow down the process of annihilation. What should we do? Well, I mean, if the best you can do is slow it down, then you'd best show me what we've got before it's too late. The comm bead echoes with a furious clicking of Vigdis's augmented fingers. A few moments later, the vid screen of your cogitator shows the recordings through a wall of static. Rogue Trader? Lady Navigator Alina, the one who staged an attempt to assassinate Cassia right in your palace, politely smiles at you from the vid screen. I had no doubt that your servants would find my trace. They are far cleverer than the ones employed by the great regent of House Sorcelio. She does not bother to hide the venomous disdain in her last few words. I feel extremely awkward that our first encounter took place under such unfortunate circumstances. Truth be told, I saw a worthy person behind the lofty title only after fate put me on the death's precipice. You hesitated to end my life despite holding it in your hands. Your noble deeds gave me enough food for thought. Despite everything that transpired, I still believe we may become loyal allies to one another. I presume you already know that the House Sorcelio will be holding a grand council in the depths of that accursed Atlas very soon, and we cannot ignore the call, for we are bound to it against our will. But if you convince this Lady Cassia to reject the Atlas and break the centuries-old shackles binding our house, we could turn over a new page. Having said that, I will accept a different outcome. Should the child die, I am not going to shed any tears. Wow, and just like that, you've lost me. I mean, look, it's not that I'm not sympathetic to the people of House Sorcelio, considering the obvious wrongs done to them by their forebear, but I'm certainly not about to punish Cassia for that. I'm sure we'll have other options. I will accept any choice, rogue trader. My people have nothing else to lose. But you could benefit from our friendship. There are mysterious shadows dancing in Lady Alina's eyes. There is an emerald among the stars of Martianus. My gift to you for sparing my life. Head through the storms and Oh, I wonder if the whole message would have played if we hadn't listened to the official message first. Though we still got a location, Stars of Martianus. I'm not sure we've seen that one. The vid recording cuts short, and you hear the Voxmaster's voice in your comm bead. I'm very sorry, Lord Captain. The servants of the Omnissiah could no longer restrain the machine spirit's hunger. I hope you were able to see the vid message through to the end. Oh, also, enemies of humanity. Right, I forgot they changed it so that you can trigger multiple events during a single jump now. Alright, well obviously we're not going to burn our holy gifts. One sec, let me knock these guys out real quick, then we'll continue on our way. Yeah, that was that was just sad. I'm not even going to bother including that in the episode. Though I will confirm, Val's new ability to trigger multiple ultimate attacks on his opening round is pretty OP. Though to be fair, I don't think that particular encounter has scaled very well. That's like late Act 2, early Act 3 stuff. We've gained like 20 levels since then. Hey, Achivo, nice. Alright, let's check in on the colonies. Your lordship, the monstrous storm has broken out on Janus. Apocalyptic anomalies are tearing our agri-world apart, and their epicenter is in the corrupted sector. Something must be done before the whole colony is destroyed. We must find the source of this madness. Calm down, Danrock. You're no good to me if you're in hysterics. Just take a deep breath and tell me what's going on. The moaning earth, the purple glow in the sky, fires crashing on the ground from above and turning all they touch to ice, a terrible noise sweeping through the cities and killing anyone who hears it. The furious storm has covered half the continent, but we can see its epicenter from orbit. The ruins of a xenostructure complex. What we thought to be the debris of buildings has turned out to be a machine. And now it rouses from its sleep, emitting blue and purple lights from the spheres fused into it. The deadly spirits have become more material, and now everyone can see that they are not dancing. They are fighting. Fighting and chanting two names. Halcyon and Kasai. I don't think we've heard either of those names before. What else do we know about what's going on down there? I don't suppose we've been contacted by our erstwhile Aldari associates? The leader of the Inquisition squad, Lady Zhu, did not grace us with a full report since she has been hastily preparing for the expedition into the heart of the anomaly, but she mysteriously claims that we have become witness to an ancient feud between Xenos, and in spite of our unfamiliarity with their conflict, it is important to choose our ally in this struggle wisely, whatever that means. All the wretches in custody have instantaneously gone mad. We cannot pull a modicum of information from them, even though we have a sense that they understand what is happening much better than we do. Right, but no word from the Enclave, which I guess does make sense if Lady Zhu's still kicking around. Slightly disconcerting that she's still on our planet, but also potentially useful. I mean, she did share some important information there. Yeah, I mean, this seems like a penultimate event for the planet, so best not take any chances. We'll support Lady Zoo's efforts, at least until we figure out what's going on. The escort squad reports that the people of Lady Zoo are demonstrating incredible skill, swiftly dealing with the anomalies and advancing toward the epicenter. Our people have now reached the Xenos ruins that once served as either a palace or a gargantuan machine. They've encountered an extremely high concentration of spirits. It appears the spirits are fighting amongst themselves, with two particularly vivid ghostly figures among them. One of these prominent spirits radiates blue light, and seems to be clad in Aeldari armor. The other is engulfed in purple flames, and clad in a Xenos ceremonial raiment. They utter sounds reminiscent of Aeldari speech, but any attempts to translate them have proved unsuccessful thus far. It is an old dialect, from the time before the fall. Order your warriors to aid the spirit wreathed in blue. It fights for the Lelathan's purity against the despicable sorcery. Even an echo of this spirit's voice is enough to understand that its cause is just. I can teach your people how to explain to the blue spirits that they are not their enemy. Yurliet, making yourself useful. I knew there was a reason we kept you around. What does it matter what those spirits are babbling about? They both must be slain. Vetter, turn to your warriors and inspire them to fight for their homes to the very last. They have already made sacrifices to get this far, so remind them what those sacrifices were for. Lady Zoo intends to fight both sides of this spirit conflict, but your soldiers are waiting for you to confirm her orders. Well, she might not like it, but let's go with Yurliet's suggestion. We have a tentative truce with the resident Aeldari enclave, and I think Yurliet's got the right of it. I mean, even just common sense would imply that the blue spirit is the benevolent of the two, while the flaming purple one is tainted by chaos. Nice when the bad guys color coordinate. Really makes things easy on us. Alright, Yurliet, I'm trusting you here. This is your chance at redemption, so, don't screw it up again. The scouts attacked, destroying the purple spirits one after another. The blue phantoms recognized their new allies, and did not harm them. Once the battle was over, the dignified spirit swathed in blue flames reached out to the scouts' thoughts, granting them visions. The planet, which was inhabited by Aeldari prior to the fall, at some point became one of the many theaters of the war between sensual excess, the dogma that reigned over the Xenos of that time, and ascetic self-restraint. A local ruler, Kasai, was enlightened and wise, yet susceptible to depravity. In his desire to transfer his soul to another form of existence, he created a mechanism that would let him take over the bodies and minds of all his people. One of the ruler's bodyguards, named Halcyon, rose against the tyrant and mortally wounded him, but could not stop him from merging with the machine. Halcyon then gave his life to bind his own spirit to the device and continue fighting therein. This tragic conflict marked the end of all Aeldari on the planet, but preserved an echo of their souls and those of their leaders. Which also nets us Lelathan's Fury. High-end Aeldari sword. Blinds target on hit. Gains 1 free attack per round versus blinded targets. That's not bad at all. Though, as per usual, probably inferior to what we've already got. Then, the spirits disappeared. But for how long? The bodies of the fallen and a strange relic discovered amid the ruins were the only proof that, for a single day, Janus was once more engulfed in a war between long-fallen Xenos. And project complete. Wait, no, right, yes, we still have a couple more. So, let's get this one going. Scriptorium schools. To teach the serfs to read and thus produce educated servants under the supervision of monks would be as useful as it would be dangerous. Yeah, well, sometimes you've just got to do what's read and write. The other one, though, payment in organs, that one we'll probably skip. And Dargonis. Terrible news from Dargonis, your lordship. Your vigilant servants have discovered an abscess of treachery on your capital world, one that has grown far too large and could rupture at any moment. The informants report that the group known as the Foreman clan is actually a cover for a horrendous cult of genetic aberrations, who currently have their people in every echelon of the hive. They are traitors to the purity of humanity, traitors to the creed, rebels and heretics. Well, shit. I guess we found our second phalange. Man, the Foreman clan. In retrospect, I really should have fingered them earlier. Apparently, their unholy sermon speaks of the 3 sorrowful phalanges of a finger, pointing the way to retribution and unity. Yeah, that sounds about right. So, what exactly do we know so far? Talk to me, Danrock. One tenacious clerk from the Administratum questioned the authority of the reports coming from the ruins of Scipion 84249. He personally observed the debris removal and entered the lower levels of the fallen hive. There he discovered signs that proved Scipion had been infected by the gene plague. Thousands of corpses of the extra-armed abominations had been buried in a mass grave. He also found the remains of Achilles Scalander's people. It seems that they had noticed the signs of corruption, and the traitors, aiming to cover up their crimes, buried their misdeeds under the ruins of the hive. On the way back, the clerk's transport was destroyed, but he miraculously managed to survive. Now the heretics think they have covered their tracks once more, and so they continue their plots, oblivious and unprepared for our attack. Well, thank goodness for that. Tell me more about this gene plague. A horrendous distortion of the human form. It seems that they spread their poison by biting and enslaving their victims. Some of them are indistinguishable from normal humans, while others are disgustingly ugly. The heretics hide them away from prying eyes. They seem to be connected by a common consciousness, and are absolutely loyal to the despicable cult. The astropathic choirmaster of Dargonis has suggested that the cult may be behind the extermination of the psychers on the planet. He can sense the ghost of a powerful consciousness of some sort. The sanctioned psychers we have gathered on Dargonis are prepared for the psychic engagement. They are disciplined, powerful, fearless, and will remain unwavering against the blows of our sinister enemy. I mean, that's all well and good, but I feel like we've already established that these things are pretty resistant to conventional psyker powers. Though, I mean, that's just based on the one time we've encountered them. These are the same things that were also infiltrating our ship, correct? I am afraid so, your lordship. The descriptions from Dargonis are quite similar to what we have witnessed ourselves. The same deformities, the same underhanded tactics. Either they are kin to our aberrations, or they are another branch stemming from the same foul root. Yeah, in retrospect, it really does fit. Matches up pretty nicely with the Nourishers, the other group, I suspect, but for some reason can't call out. I mean, that's gotta be it then. That's gotta be all 3 phalanges. All working in tandem, a joint effort. Indeed, They probably began by recruiting workers. It is easy to blend in with the laboring riffraff. Posing as a union of technomats, they were able to conceal their secret operations and infiltrate into the upper echelons of power. Each new crisis allowed them to gain more of our trust and resources. And most despicable of all is that they have perverted our faith. They revere the God Emperor in the form of a four-armed monstrosity. Their prayers are full of hatred towards those in power, and promises of a reckoning when their dreadful deity will come, and acquaint them with their oppressors. With us, that is. Many fools and troublemakers have fallen for their lies. By letting them infiltrate the other hives, we allowed them to spread like an epidemic. Now their cult has cells everywhere. When your lordship stood up for the minor cults, they received a golden opportunity to recruit more openly to their ranks, which are now brimming with fools who have yet to realize that they are partaking in a heretical company. Yeah, kind of crazy how that all just sort of blew up in my face there. Especially given some of the obvious parallels. Heinrich's buddy, you wanna weigh in here? They are called gene stealers, and they are not simple mutants. They are a Xenos plague that breeds inside the human brain, forever distorting their genetic makeup and enslaving them to the brood. This is much more threatening than the Drukhari fleet that ravaged the capital earlier. If they are on Dargonis, then they will try to overtake the entire planet, sooner or later. The messengers of the Great Devourer. My kin can sense the shapeshifters, but you should stay vigilant, Elentak. For a species as psychically weak as the monkey, their arrival may spell death. Right, so what exactly are we up against here? The heretics mostly consist of workers, but some have infiltrated the Guard as well. Their weapons are primarily made from repurposed industrial machinery. The cultists are fearless and will readily sacrifice themselves for the sake of their common goal. But the worst part is their psychic threat. We cannot even begin to gauge it. We fear the tribes of the Engine Vandals will support them as well, partially influenced by the plague and partially lured by the promise of a good raid. Really? I would have hoped the servants of the Omnissiah would know better than that, but... Alright, fair enough. I mean, obviously we need to get on top of this. Absolutely right. It is impossible to negotiate with the degenerates. Our only option is to completely annihilate them. We should start from the top. Should we attack decisively and quickly, or should we show our hand by bringing assault vehicles into the capital and gain an advantage in firepower? Do we quietly eliminate their leaders, or do we rain destruction upon the infected territories and cleanse them of their traitors? Valen, raise the people to battle and publicly proclaim war. Tell the people that the heretics are hiding among them, and the millions of loyal subjects will grind the thousands of traitors to dust. May Dargonis cleanse itself of this filth. The cleansing should be thorough. A good few wrecks of dead ships still linger in orbit after the day the Xenos scum attacked your world. Command your fleet to pick them up and send them plummeting toward the nests of this spawn, trying to encroach on your domain. Wow, the orbital rail cannon approach. Ulfar does not mess around. Gotta say, though, that does seem like it would come with quite a lot of collateral. Since all of them are linked by a common will, we could start by launching our attack there. If the Astropathic Choir could drown out the voice of the Brood, we would be able to launch a sudden strike and act quickly enough before the enemy could restore cohesion and alert their forces to the assault. Okay, see, that sounds a bit more reasonable. Thank you, Heinrichs. Also, probably our most secure skill check, too. Well, that or Orbital Strike, but, you know, he thinks we might go with the slightly more discreet route here. That's just more Valen style. Also, I've got to say, I really am thrown for a bit of a loop by this because, while I did suspect other similar groups, the Spinners, the Infernus Guild, obviously, the Foreman's Guild just really kind of flew right under my radar because they're part of what seems to be the main campaign, but now retrofitted into the story of the DLC. I actually respect that they blended the two together. It really caught me off guard because, you know, it's just my natural inclination as like a dungeon master or a player just in general to assume that the two would have limited overlap. You know, classically, DLC is kind of its own separate thing. But no, they went that extra mile, and man, it definitely paid off. I mean, it all makes sense in retrospect, it's just, man, it totally blindsided me. I have made a bunch of terrible decisions in regards to this particular plot point. Alright, Heinrichs, let's get you on point with this. I will send the Inquisition directives developed specifically for this scenario to Dargonis. At the appointed time, the Enforcers started their simultaneous raids in all the hives of the capital. Relying on stealth and surprise, they did not use heavy weapons of war. At the same time, the Astropathic Choir launched a truly devastating attack on the grim psychic shadow hanging above the hives of Dargonis. This attack stunned the brood of heretics and temporarily cut off their psychic communication. But the heretics did not go down without a fight. Soon, an enraged outcry of psychic energy from the brood swept through the hives, plunging the dynasty's brave warriors into horror or bloody insanity. The Astropathic Choir managed to drown it out with their menacing chants, but this was a test of wills, and only the most disciplined and steadfast psychers withstood its sheer force. The element of surprise facilitated the swift extermination of the cult leaders, leading the rest of the heretics to lose heart. The filthy shrines of the heretics were set ablaze. Only one thing filled the rogue trader's servants with unease. Inside the cult's main temple, they found the den of some grotesquely enormous monster. It was empty. They did not find the beast. If the Emperor had been merciful to Dargonis, the monster would surely have perished in the fires that had engulfed the hives during that cycle. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're saving that for either the end of Act 4 or sometime in Act 5. But at least we got a tainted phylactery. Ah, scaling off Xenos lore. So, good potential fit for Val or Pask. Also, Society of Cartographers complete. That was our, I guess, what must be our final tier project for Dargonis. Because we are getting a real sense of finality. So maybe we don't have new events for Act 5. Though we do at least have that other Iconoclast event, so let's go ahead and get that going. Slightly awkward timing in light of, what literally just happened, but we've already dogpiled a bunch of bad decisions into Dargonis. Oh, you know what? No, hold on a sec. Let me double check our stats to make sure we have enough overflow to actually absorb that. Oh, yeah, well, assuming I'm reading this right, we have over 20, so more than enough. And more than enough security as well. Just that plus 15 there is enough by itself. So yeah, let's go ahead and do the Charter of Minimal Rights. The adoption of the Charter, a document that grants certain rights to commoners, is a scandalous decision. This step will allow a small group of elected commoners to rule Dargonis alongside the aristocracy. Again, very awkward in light of what just happened, but it does cap out our colony stats and grants plus 15 fellowship. Not the most useful stat for Val, but we do still get the occasional raw fellowship check. So I suppose that'll be good for those very specific occasions. Oh, but not automatically... right, yes, because we haven't actually capped out our complacency yet. That'll be after the project completes, at which point there won't be any left, but, you know, that's fine. And what's going on over here? Ah, I see. Random event. Pilgrims, I think we've seen that one before. Also, we do still have this project in the queue, which we can now complete. So yeah, let's go ahead and knock that one out. Earthbreaker. The blessed hydraulic installation of the Adeptus Mechanicus will crush the greedy bowels of the earth, freeing the priceless minerals within that the Imperium so desperately needs. Sounds good to me. Which I believe, for the most part, means we're pretty much done with all of our colonies. We've got Holy Ammo, which we don't qualify for yet. We've got the organ harvesting one, which I'm not really keen to do. And then we've got these two currently in progress. So unless they add more, unless there's additional ones added by Act 5 or by other hidden conditions, I think we've got this settled. So, back to exploring, I suppose. Artificial object, that's got to be what we're here for. Yeah, all these planets are already scanned. All usual noises on the bridge cease when the shadow of a gigantic void ship, seemingly appearing out of nowhere, sails past the stained glass windows. It seems forlorn. The hull is tarnished. The lumens are dead. The windows are broken and shrouded. The auger crew can't recognize the signature of its silent engines. They only manage to shed some light on its decrepit hull and make out the faded name of the cruiser. Queen's Lament. The Voxmaster report breaks the somber silence. The bridge has just received a Voxcast from the dead void ship. Well, we've clearly encountered this particular trick before. In light of our experience with the Cult of the Final Dawn, methinks we'll perhaps politely decline that signal. After fumbling with a few switches, the Voxmaster says in a perplexed voice that the incoming signal should have been interrupted, but it's still being received by the rogue trader's Vox. Ah, fantastic. Well, I'm sure that's fine. Vigdis conducts a full Vox system check and reports that the communications are in order, even though only eerie, unnatural silence can be heard through the Vox. Worried murmurs sweep across the bridge. The officers are certain that this is the void ship of the old ghost stories. The Queen's Lament has appeared countless times in all corners of the Imperium. Like a ghost, it manifested out of nowhere, and just as mysteriously vanished into the darkness of space, taking with it those who dared to board. The Queen's Lament. The rogue trader has heard that name before. This void ship was destroyed by Xenos in one of the violent battles for the Expanse over 3 millennia ago. They say that its captain was a devout and vengeful man. Well, I mean, we've got to check it out. We've investigated every other Hulk we've come across. What's one more? And honestly, most of the others didn't really turn out all that bad. I mean, I guess there was the one with the corrupted tech priests, the one with the chaos bomb. Okay, so it's like 50-50. I'm ready to flip that coin again. The shuttle carrying the soldiers docks with the Queen's Lament without impediment. Using the disparate blueprints of other Imperial cruisers, the scouting party sets out to the bridge, following the dark, unpowered corridors that somehow retained oxygen and gravity. The nervous voice of the operator erupts through the Vox. The crew are still on board, but what's this? Blurry silhouettes of people with torn-off limbs, cut-open bellies, and twisted faces are materializing and vanishing all around in ghastly flashes. The ghosts promise the unwelcome guests that they will stay on board the Queen's Lament forever. Raising his voice to a shout, the operator reports that his comrades are already dead, and soon it will be his turn. The augurs are telling a different story. All of the scouts are alive and still moving forward. Take a deep breath and calm down. We've encountered this sort of thing before. It's just basic warp trickery. Echoes of the fate of the original crew. You're fine. Just don't lose your head. An anxious prayer to the Emperor is whispered over the Vox. For a moment, the operator falls silent, and suddenly returns, mumbling excuses about his imagination playing tricks on him. His comrades are still walking ahead of him, alive and well, and the void ship looks completely empty again. After a few minutes of silence, a child's cry can be heard through the Vox. The stuttering operator reports that friends and family of the members of the scouting party are blocking the way. The friends and family who've all been taken by death. The soldiers confirm that they're not seeing ghosts, but living people, made of flesh and bone. The soldiers are begging the rogue trader to let them talk to their loved ones for a moment. Come on, people, you've been trained better than this. We've all lost people we care about, but you know the warp doesn't just give them back. You're all in grave danger, and this time it's relative. Ignore the bait. Keep moving. The scouts begin to argue. The unintelligible quarreling abruptly stops, and after a few minutes, the operator anxiously gives his report. As soon as the squad split up, the ones who decided to stay with their loved ones were swallowed by the darkness of the empty deck and vanished. Gosh darn it. Alright, well, keep moving and maybe listen to me next time. Half an hour later, the Vox comes to life once again. The operator flatly reports that the scouting party has reached the bridge. The cogitators are broken, so extracting any data from them seems impossible. The scouts have found a strange object on the captain's chair. They can't describe it, only saying that this shouldn't be there. In his usual flat voice, devoid of emotion, the operator completes his report. The way to the bridge took 16 hours and 41 minutes. The soldiers are exhausted and would like to rest for some time. Confused, Vigdis notes that only half an hour has passed outside the Queen's Lament. Yeah, okay, so another obvious temptation. If they rest, they're never coming back out. Listen to me. It's not safe there. Grab whatever that thing is and head straight back. I'll be waiting. The Voxcast stops abruptly, and a few minutes later the scouting party's shuttle leaves the Queen's Lament. The void ship itself dissolves in the darkness of space. The shuttle arrives carrying a single passenger, the operator clutching a strange parcel. The young man's hair has turned white after the time spent on the cursed vessel, and he has lost the ability to speak. His story and the rumors of what happened to the other scouts will live on for many years, in hushed whispers, across every deck of the rogue trader's void ship. Yeah, I guess that's probably about the best we could have hoped for. Sorry, guys. It's like that darn mirror event all over again. And look at that. A parcel full of unholy relics. Man, not even useful. Just a banner day for the Von Valancius Protectorate. But, you know, such is the price you pay for your academic and intellectual curiosity. Especially in a universe filled with so many myriad horrors. Still need to head to Viabo 6. Get that cleared up. Alright, well, you know, that was still fun. I mean, it was interesting. But we've got a bit of time left. Let's see if we can push one more. Perhaps end on a slightly brighter note. With a rare find. That's 2 hops out? Yeah, once to Trinitos, then again to Cradle of Kepri. Though, of course, if we hit a travel event, we'll have to stop there instead. Come on, guys. Give me some good news. Nope. Lord Captain, multiple critical systems are failing throughout the vessel. Half the compartments are no longer responding. The ship is falling apart. We request your lordship's presence on the bridge immediately. Yeah, on my way. Just one of those days you don't want to wake up. Turmoil reigns on the bridge, with officers running about frantically, tapping the cogitator runes, operators issuing commands into hissing voxcasters, and enforcers brandishing and checking their weapons. Only the master helmsman looks curiously unperturbed. Bravor's ever-scowling face clearly cannot hold any more grim dissatisfaction. I'm glad you've made it here in one piece, your lordship. The crew is running ship damage control procedures. The situation has been recorded in the ship's log as critical. Mr. Sauerback and I are temporarily in charge of the bridge. I'm organizing the technical staff while Jocasta musters the enforcers. The Honorable Vox and the Infernus Master have departed for the affected compartments to take charge of their subordinates, but remain present on the Vox line. Okay, this is DLC. Methinks the third phalanges just started flexing. Where's the rest of my retinue? Vigdis's voice breaks through the shower of static gushing from the Voxcaster. They were in their quarters or carrying out their duties when the incident occurred. Immediately after the emergency meeting, I will summon those you request to the bridge as escorts. And Danrock, where'd he get off to? At the time of the accident, Danrock was on the freight line inspecting warehouses. He has not been in contact since. We are assuming the worst. No, they wouldn't do him like that. Not in a DLC. Alright, people, talk to me. What exactly is going on? Your comm bead springs to life. Infernus Master speaking. There have been several large explosions throughout the ship. The cascading blackout has knocked out lighting, transportation lines, air filtration, and heat control across the entire vessel. Multiple fires detected. All Infernus Guild forces have been deployed for emergency repairs. We will save the ship, no matter the cost. Well, I suppose you would be pretty well suited to handle it, considering I'm fairly certain you're the ones who kicked this whole thing off, but, please, continue. Right now, we're a blind, unpowered, defenseless, sinking spittoon, drifting through the abyss. The total volume of outages was nearly enough to turn us into an adamantine casket. The crew has suffered heavy casualties due to explosive depressurization, loss of air supply to the compartments, multiple fires, and failures in the transportation systems. The numbers are getting worse by the minute. This has to be intentional, right? There's no way this was all accidental, especially not after what just happened on Dargonis. While we do not know this for certain, I am convinced that we have been attacked from within. We are now more vulnerable than ever. Her voice is followed by a hiss from the Boxcaster. It might have been a chain reaction caused by an accidental failure. The ship is old, that sort of thing can happen. But I commend Mistress Sourback's vigilance. It is appropriate at this hour. I'm sure it's fine, though, nothing to worry about. These things happen. No need to overthink it. I'm sure everything's perfectly all right now. We're fine. We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you? All right, well, Einrich's nonsense aside, could we perhaps do something to save the ship? I've already put together a priority order for the repairs of the critical systems, but many bays have descended into bedlam and riots, making the work difficult. People are terrified and think they're about to die. In addition, some decks have become inaccessible. The trapped crew members' time is running out. Sadly, the optimal survival strategy for the vessel does not include the survival of those poor sods. Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, logically we should focus on saving the vessel, but I also feel like that goes against what we've established as Valen's core values. No, these people trusted me with their lives. The least I can do is make sure we don't deliberately leave any of them behind. Try to rescue as many people as you can. There's no point in saving the ship if there's no one left to actually crew it. A new burst of hisses emanates from the Boxcaster. Jocasta, we're running short on brave men. We would be grateful if your people would lay down their weapons and come to assist the Infernus Guild. The sooner you come, the more lives we can save. The Master-at-Arms glares furiously at the Boxcaster. The enforcers will do their duty. Aid will arrive shortly. I hate you, Einrich. Yeah, that's definitely going to blow up in our face. Well, let's keep digging. Sourback's personal box bursts into life. Her face contorts with rage as she listens to the report. There's been an incident on the flight deck. A mob of voidsmen and laborers, despicable cowards all, are trying to break through to the shuttles. The enforcers are holding them back for now, but the cordon is in danger of being overrun. Okay, you know what? Just let them through. I feel like this could be another ploy, but I feel like we're better off just getting them out from underfoot rather than tying ourselves up trying to keep them under control. But I, for one, shall remain. I'm still confident that we can get this back under control. Sourback grits her teeth and hisses into the box. Let them through. Remove the cordon. Provide enough oxygen, water, and rations for 8 watches, and nothing else for those traitors. Ravor shakes his head, gazing intently at the vid screen of one of the cogitators. The pressure's dropping. The bridge ventilation system is completely busted, Lord Catton. I humbly request that you move to the officer's deck, where the emergency headquarters are to be established. The bridge is no longer safe, so I must ask you to hurry while the tech priests are still supplying the elevator with power. My assistants and I will stay here and report on system readings. We have an emergency supply of void suits, so we won't croak right away. Emperor willing. Hey, welcome back, guys. Man, so yeah, that got pretty intense. And, obviously still making some pretty questionable choices here, but, Gotta commit to the bit. Val's gonna be Val. I'm sure we'll be, like, 90% fine. Yeah, that seems about right. The elevator shaft has expelled you into the dim of the emergency lights. The smell of promethium and burnt flesh only adds to the nausea, confirming that you have suffered a concussion. Your elbow is twisted at an odd angle, and your body is racked with pain. But there is a silver lining to all the agony. It means you are not dead yet. Kibbles. My arm. The bone crunches unpleasantly, and a sharp pain pierces your arm. But Cabela manages to reset the elbow. It is swollen and still looks worrisome, but at least you can move your arm now. Pask. Sabotage? It is a miracle that you have survived. Guide rails lie in a twisted pile over a crown of shattered plasteel. Pascal quickly confirms the elevator was equipped with safety devices meant to stop the cabin inside the shaft, but at least half of them have failed. Your fall was no accident. Yeah, they really gave us the shaft on this one. Smoke and darkness limit your vision, but judging by the stench of rust and unwashed bodies, you are somewhere on the lower decks. You can hear the crackling of flames, groans, screams, and the rumble of falling beams coming from the distance. The disaster has not spared this compartment. The comm bead emits only unintelligible hissing. Either it was damaged in the fall, or the communication lines in this compartment have failed. No, that's a mirage. I'm telling y'all, it's sabotage. Sabotage. Well, you know what? This feels like a good place to call it. My goodness, that was quite an end cap for the episode. Also, half my limbs are broken, so, just as well we're hitting that pause button, I can get that tended to real quick. Thankfully, we have no shortage of skin grafts and surgeon kits. Also, doubly fortunate they restricted the trauma to just our main, rather than spreading it out over the entire party. That said, wow. Really got to hand it to the 3 sorrowful phalanges. They definitely gave us the finger. And it is really just kind of shocking to see how much of it we just literally walked into. Some of it definitely pretty obvious in retrospect. I got a bit too into my own head, segregating the main plot from the DLC plot so thoroughly. That really came back to bite us with Dargonis, but there are at least a few things that I'm still pretty confident about, such as our inevitable reveal with Heinrich. I mean, that's got to be right around the corner now. Also, probably safe to assume that whatever was supposed to be in that layer back at Dargonis was only absent because it is now here. But I guess we'll find out next time. See you then. Oh, and special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible. including but not limited to Erie V23, Revenant, Alois, Arrow Bowman, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Lady Shayna, Mark Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.
Was that supposed to be a challenge? I cannot be leashed.